Okay, now it's recording.
Hey, this is Jim with Diesel Geek, and I have Robbie Plinge. He's going to be showing us how to replace the 3 main leaking seals on a Bosch injection pump for a Volkswagen TDI. Robbie's come up with his own procedure here, and we're going to just take a look. So I guess I'm going to have Robbie give us a rundown.
Okay, so this pump is exceptionally clean, but generally when you have a leaking pump, you've got lots of dirt and grime built up in this area, on the injector line nuts, and down in these areas here. So what you want to do is just kind of take some brake parts cleaner and just hit the pump along there, down along here, and then get a toothbrush or a bristle brush and just kind of clean all these areas up real good. Maybe some degreaser if it's really bad, you know, just get all that stuff out of there, and then hit it with brake cleaner one more time just to make sure you
just want to knock it off
and knock everything out of the way. Now you want to take some rags. Helps to have some old already used rags that aren't really good for anything else, and just stuff them up pretty good down in here to catch the fuel that's going to spill out of the pump when you take the top cover and quantity adjuster off. Get, you know, plenty on top of that alternator there so you don't get too much fuel on it.
Yeah, I definitely want to use the rags, even if they're new rags, because the fuel is really bad for the soft rubber parts down below, any coolant hoses or fittings and stuff.
Now, first step is to take the top cover off. So you just want to disconnect this line and just kind of set it up here out of the way. And we're using the special Metal Nerd tool to take the triangular socket off. Spin it all the way out. The rest of these are T30s. And I've got some rags up here that I'm just gonna put all my parts on. Okay. Alright, so just break these all loose.
It's really important to use a high quality Torx driver on these. More so on the head bolts than the top cover bolts, or any of the quantity adjuster bolts. But the head screws, 2 of them are really shallow and require a really nice fitting socket. If you buy a real cheap set, you can break off the bits in the sockets or round off the heads of the bolts to make it really difficult to get the head bolts out. So, something craftsman level or above to make sure that you don't round out the bolt heads or break off the socket.
Alright, just leaving the fuel lines connected, and I'm just going to lift this off, and it's going to splash some fuel down there.
This is the top cover of the quantity adjuster, and it shows the black seal right there that we're going to replace.
And I'm just going to sort of wrap this in a towel and put it up here out of the way, and it won't really stay out of the way until I get the rest of the quantity adjuster out, but that's next. We need to mark this first, just as a rough reference for when we put it back together.
Yeah, you definitely want to mark the quantity adjuster relative position to the body of the pump before you take the quantity adjuster off. So when you go to start it again,
So I just put the knife between these 2 parts, which is the main pump body and the quantity adjuster body, and I push relatively hard and pull it straight up and get a mark. Then I do the same thing over here, and those are my 2 marks. And again, those are pretty rough. We're gonna later dial in the injection quantity perfectly with VAGCOM. So before I actually do anything else with the quantity adjuster, I'm going to loosen and remove these 2 screws.
This is on the pump head. So the upper front side pump head bolt, I'm going to go ahead and loosen that, take it out, and get the brackets out of the way. These are the ones with the big black heads.
There's also a 5mm underneath that one.
So you have a mixture of T30 and then 5mm Allen holding the brackets on. The head bolts are the Torx, and then the extra bracket bolts are 5mm.
And I've just realized that it's actually easier to do this with the injector lines out of the way, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those. Because we also have to pull this electrical connector down here, so we need to get these out of the way.
Okay.
The way I do this is just kind of pop them. My palm, because they get pretty tight.
This is just an open-end Craftsman wrench. You can use a flare wrench, which is kind of like a box end with a notch cut out of it. Not totally necessary. An 11/16 SAE wrench will also work for this. It's actually a tiny bit tighter than a 17. You have to kind of be careful not to break the orange plastic dipstick collar when you do this.
In fact, you can just reach down and pull it straight out, get it out of the way.
And that'll keep you from breaking and having to replace it.
Set those up there in a clean spot. Go ahead and lift up on the connector to slide it out of its little bracket, and then we want to disconnect these two halves. So I found it's easier if you push
them
together first.
And then there's a little catch right there that his thumb is on.
You can see it lifting inside the connector body.
There's a little window in there that you can see the catch undoing.
Now we're going to take, the idea is to get this whole thing over into here with the quantity adjuster all put off to the side. So we need to open up this little clip that holds the 10 wires for the injection pump.
Little wire harness keeper.
Get it out of there. Now we can access that 5mm bolt on the bottom to get the entire connector up and out of the way.
This is a 5mm Allen on the bottom. So one thing we can do also to keep stuff from getting in the pump is put the red caps. If your O-ring kit comes with red caps, you can just cover the outlet ports of the injector pump.
I'm gonna get this other line off. I'm gonna go ahead and stick these caps on here. These are a little small for the top, but they just kind of slide down.
It'll just maybe help keep some extra dust out of the injectors.
You can pull those off later with a pair of pliers and slide right off. They fit better on these down here. The pump's going to be dribbling fuel here for a while with these lines off. So now that we've got the lines out of the way, we'll go ahead and stuff some more towels in the underside on the line side to catch those dribbles. Don't be shy with your towels. There's almost always another little nook. You can fit another one in there.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we've got this bracket loose, which means we'll be able to take the quantity adjuster and get it all the way out to the side. Actually, I have to take that.
I'm going to take this one wire off the...
That's an 8mm.
8mm. It's the fuel shutoff solenoid.
And I just take the nut.
Be careful not to lose the nut.
Slide the connector up.
Just thread that nut back on there so you don't lose it.
Loosely. Now, back to the T30s.
You can see right here, you can see the fuel temp sensor, and it's just held on by two little tiny torque screws.